I have to wonder when Congress is going to step in and do something about and it's Republican favored right now, so they're very concerned about um, making sure that women can't get reproductive health. That um, the LGBTQ community, IA community, that they don't have rights, just basic civil rights. Those are the things they're focusing on right now, rather than talking about the harmful content that is on social media, on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, and what other platforms might be popular. Oh, yeah, there's Twitter, right? X, whatever it's called. YouTube has a policy, apparently, that says that you can't show any videos of self-harm unless it's profitable to them, right? Unless it makes them a profit.
Yo, what is up, my gamies and my gamers? Okay, today is going to be a pretty serious video, so just a massive warning to anyone dealing with ED, body dysmorphia, etc., because this stuff is going to be a little bit triggering, but I do think it's important to talk about, because if you don't know, Eugenia Cooney is a YouTuber that has been around for a very long time. I mean, her oldest videos are literally from 10 years ago now, and she's been popping up for a long time as well. I mean, she's still getting 200,000 views per video. The problem is that she's been dealing with anorexia, or just being skinny, for a long time. And as you can see, like, she is very low weight. And coming from someone that has also dealt with...
Yeah, that's not just skinny. That is crazy ass anorexia. Like, the only other excuse she could possibly have is that she's dying of cancer or something. But obviously we know that's not true, because she and her mom keep telling everybody she's perfectly happy. I was going to just try and find one of these photos, but I mean, even Karen Carpenter, if you search for Karen Carpenter at her lowest weight, which is one of the most infamous anorexia deaths in the early 80s, she still looks like she has more body fat than Eugenia Cooney, which is so fucking scary. I mean, because Karen actually was able to get herself back up to a healthy body weight, but she had already done so much damage to her organs that she ended up having a heart attack anyway. So these are some pictures of her. She still looks like she has more body fat than Eugenia. That's a pretty scary... This one right here, this is a pretty scary picture. I mean, that's a skeletal face right there. Her arms are obviously way too thin. But she feels this enormous pressure because some dumbass in the entertainment industry told her that she needed to lose some weight. This is also, by the way, one of the reasons that I had to let go of my boyfriend earlier this week, because he's like, you could stand to lose 10 more pounds. Okay, asshole, look. You insulted me after I got out of the hospital, and told me nobody likes me, and that there's a prominent Democratic politician who's spreading gossip about me, and then later admitted that was a lie. Then you wanted to come over and have sex, and then the very next night you said you didn't want to get rid of your shell wife that lives in a separate bedroom. I'm out. I can't take that much fucking abuse from somebody. Fuck's sake. But Karen Carpenter looks like she actually has a little bit of body fat. But the fact is that she was dropping below 100 pounds as well. I mean, she was getting to dangerously low weight levels. And when you do that, you no longer have the correct nutrients in your blood to support your organs. Back to the video.
With weight problems pretty much their entire life, myself, it's heartbreaking to see because I remember watching these videos literally like 6 years ago, and I at this point am not sure how she's even still alive. And I'm not saying this as an exaggeration or to be mean towards Eugenia. Speaking of that, I don't want anyone to be mean towards Eugenia at all. This is not the point of the video. I'm just trying to showcase the fact that this is such a dangerous place that Eugenia is putting us in, and it's such a dangerous place that YouTube itself and all these platforms actually letting her content stay on the platform. And on top of that, some of the new developments that are just incredibly disheartening that I found. For those of you that don't know, Shane actually had posted a video with Eugenia a long time ago trying to get her help for her weight. The video literally has 33 million views, and she recently came out and said this. I mean, recently being 10 months ago.
Going back to when you came back in 2019 was a Twitter statement about, yeah, that was all scripted, like literally.
It was all scripted. I've watched it. That was not fucking scripted, Eugenia. You got snuck up on. I don't know that that's necessarily the right way to handle a situation with somebody who has anorexia, but you definitely got snuck up on. And, I mean, you can live in your fantasy world all you want, but it's not going to be a lot longer because, look at you. You have no body mass. You don't have the right amount of nutrients running through your body at this point. And so your organs are dying. You're 29. Karen Carpenter was 32 when she had her heart attack. It's not going to be much longer, girlfriend. And we'll be sad for you, but like, what's that going to do for you if people are just like, oh, what a sad story. And then we all move on with our lives, right? You think your mom's going to be, just sad for the rest of her life that she let her daughter starve to death? Or you think she's going to just be like, oh, well, I've got a son.
Written for me.
So not only was she not being genuine with the statements that she had put out around the whole rehab situation, which has been looked at in the Eugenia Cooney world as like the one saving grace that she might actually want to go to rehab, that she might actually want to get better. It comes out that that was completely false, that it was pretty much all for YouTube views. And I know that's not exactly what she's saying, but dude, if someone else was scripting out her statements on Twitter for her whole rehab session and her getting better, what else did they fake to get that video actually out? Like, this is a disgusting thing that happened. I'm surprised that more people aren't talking about this. But I know a lot of people could make the argument, well, it wasn't her that had scripted it, probably wasn't her choice, yada yada. And I think that's a fair argument to a certain degree. But if you...
I don't think it was scripted. I think that she was caught off guard. She was very reserved in her answers in that video. And he was giving her softball questions for the most part. Like, he didn't want to overstay his welcome, if you will. They all just want to be best buddies so that they can still go to parties together, right? That's all anybody cares about. As long as we're happy, we can go to our parties together. We don't need to worry about the health and safety of our friends and family and shit.
Look at how how she responds to people that are legitimately criticizing her for things that she's doing wrong. Like this comment saying, I hope no young girls are looking at this thinking this is a healthy body. And this comment was on a picture of Eugenia. And Eugenia responds, young girls could technically look at anything and decide they want to emulate it. I'm just existing and posting a photo. I'm not telling to do or be anything. If this isn't the biggest cop-out and lack of accountability I've ever seen, I don't know what is. I was gonna give a metaphor of what to compare this to, but it's just such an extreme take on something that we all know. If you post pictures online and you're making yourself look unrealistic, you're not doing a service to this world. And I think most people think that this only applies to women, but this also applies to men too. I myself literally thought that I was the most ugly piece of shit in the world because my skin wasn't that clear and I had acne. Meanwhile, almost every single post on Instagram and just in the world was getting airbrushed. And yes, I know it's a little stupid of me to think, but that's how younger people think. They don't know any better. And so you as an influencer have to be aware of the fact, I just spit everywhere, but you have to be aware of the fact that you're actually influencing people. And so to take zero accountability in this is just an awful thing to do. Because it's not like she doesn't know what she's doing, right? Anyways, as I was saying before, the reason why people look at Eugenia's rehab phase as kind of like the saving grace or the light at the end of the tunnel in a way is because this is how she looked like after rehab. And this is like airbrushed or whatever. There's just something weird on this photo. But she looks healthy, right? And someone made a comparison. Look at what's going on. And again, these photos are just edited. I don't know why people do this to every single photo. Like this is like AI upscaled or something. But the point still stands that like this is not completely photoshopped. Like her teeth are really starting to recede. Like her gum line is starting to recede. On top of that, her arms are getting so skinny that even her biceps are literally starting to show through her arm. This is an actual diagram, you know, kind of going back and forth and showing exactly where everything is lining up. At first, I mean, if you just look at it, you don't really know what's going on. That is literally her muscle. Like right here, this muscle right here, that is what's being stretched right there because there's no fat anymore. And I'm not saying this to like shame her by any means. I really want to go out of my way and say that I don't want to make her feel bad or make other people feel bad because I've been extremely skinny as well. But for her to deny that she has any problem with anything, well, this is literally happening. This is actually her muscle right here. It's just, it's silly. And it's not only her that's ignoring it, it's YouTube as well. It's every platform. She's fine on YouTube. She's fine on TikTok. She's fine on Twitter. We all just have to sit here and pretend like, oh, nothing's wrong with this girl. She's fine. When she's not fine. I covered this in the last video, but if you're anorexic, you actually have a higher chance of dying than someone that's overweight, like the same amount off the chart of like being normal weight. So anyways, there's starting to be things where she can't really control them and cover them up. Like for example, a little while ago, her hair might have actually been falling out because when you're malnourished, your hair just starts to do.
This is so fucking crazy right here. You know what? I lose a lot of hair too, but I think that has to do with my age. And maybe my CRPS, right? Because I had to do like a phone interview yesterday it was like a screening interview with the panel that's going to be coming up with my final determination. It's called a qualified medical evaluation to determine like how damaged am I, what sort of work can I do in the future, you know, shit like that, right? And that was one of the I got asked a lot of questions. Like, do I have chest pain? No. Do I have headaches? No. Do you throw up? Yes. Are you losing hair? Well, yeah, there's a lot of hair in the bathtub when I'm done. Do you take showers? I do if my ex-boyfriend was around, because I knew that if I ran into any scenarios that could be a problem for me, he could, you know, prevent me from falling. But generally, I will take baths because it's logistically easier for me to navigate a Roman bathtub than to be afraid if I'm going to slip and fall because my knee buckles under me, right? These are the kinds of things you get asked. But yeah, I've been losing hair, and like I said, I have a potassium deficiency that just really developed over the last year and a half since I got bit by the dog. Um, so if her hair is falling out, it's because she's not getting enough nutrients, in my opinion. I'm not a doctor. I don't know what's going on with her, but something's going on with her, and it's incredibly harmful for her content to be up online for little, young kids, like preteens and shit, to be watching this, grabbing mommy's wallet, sending her hearts and galaxies and whatever else to donate to her little TikTok battles. This is not okay because she's trying to transform herself into a cartoon. She's trying to make herself into a Disney cartoon. She's trying to make herself into Jack Skellington's wife, the cartoon version, not Danny Elfman version, obviously. It's really gross. It's sad. I hope that she gets the help that she needs, but it's going to have to be her family that intervenes. And the platforms. The platforms need to shut her down. You guys got to shut her down.
Doing really weird things in different parts of your body just stop working. Your hair starts to turn flaky, dry, some of it may start falling out, and you can literally see one of her hair microbeads are falling out right here. And I think at the time she had said that it wasn't a microbead, it was just some flake or some like mistake in the camera or something like that. And someone had posted a screenshot of this, and these are literally, this is hair microbleeding. This looks like the same exact thing. And someone said, I wear extensions every day for 5 years. I guarantee you that is a microbead, 150%. No way this can be spray or dust. It's the same size and color as a microbead. Anyways, all that being said, it's inarguable to say that the situation just continues to get worse. And it has been getting worse for like years now. And it's not just like random people on the internet that are figuring this out. Even a news reporter from The Insider had said surely people who work at YouTube have to at least be having conversations about Eugenia Cooney at this point. It's already such a bad look for the platform to be complicit in this. What happens if/when she dies? I saw screenshots of the new video and just felt a deep pit in my stomach. We're all watching this woman die. I just got goosebumps as I was reading this because she's exactly right. YouTube, you have to do something about this. Enough is enough at this point. Seriously. Why are you sitting on your hands while we...
They literally sat on their hands for Sniper Wolf, too, when she had a rap sheet and ended up showing up at a rival YouTuber's house and stalked him and doxed him. These people running these platforms are not good people.
Are all watching this person inarguably suffer. You could make the argument, oh, well, it's not really our fault if she dies. It doesn't matter if it's your fault or not. At the end of the day, YouTube really cares about PR, because if YouTube has bad PR, then they have a bad amount of advertisers pulling out, which is literally what caused the adpocalypse last time. With the whole PewDiePie situation, that was insanely bad PR. A bunch of advertisers pulled out, and then everyone struggled. What happens if Eugenia actually dies? What's gonna happen then, YouTube? Are we gonna have another adpocalypse and we're all going to have to struggle? And I'm not saying this just so I can save my wallet. I'm saying this so that we can actually de-incentivize Eugenia from continuing this behavior. You can literally tell that she likes the fact that she gets attention. She craves the attention. Anyone can see that. I'm not trying to be insensitive of the fact that she's dealing with an issue, but enough is getting to be enough at this point. For example, a lot of people in her subreddit, in her community, myself, we have all dealt with the same problem that she has on varying levels, and there is very little to anyone defending Eugenia at this point. The only people that are defending Eugenia seems like to be people that are involved or profiting. And if you think I'm exaggerating by this, I'm not saying that YouTube is like going out of their way to make money off of her, because it's not like they make that much money, but I do think that she's getting...
I think it should also be noted that for as much as she loves Jeffree Star, who clearly is using her to sell makeup and eye rolling at her several times on very recent live streams that they've done, I don't know, other than trying to sell makeup, he doesn't seem to have any good intentions there. But she seems to love him very much, which indicates that she probably has a problem forming friendships. Like sincere friendships. She probably doesn't know anybody in her hometown. She doesn't know how to, like, get involved in any local activities where she can meet people. I think that her life is probably pretty sad, you guys. Like, in addition to the eating disorder, I think that she's probably dealing with a lot of depression, and she's clinging on to this guy who most of us would look at and be like, wow, he's a real dick. I don't want him anywhere near me, right? Most of us, I think, would be like that if we encountered a Jeffree Star in our lives. But she's like, oh, but he's paying attention to me. Well, he wasn't at his birthday party. Probably because she dressed up kind of in this 90s getup of very frumpy clothes, and everybody else, like, she was underdressed for the event. And he was clearly off put by that, right? So he's an incredibly bad influence, but I think it's noteworthy that later that night, everybody went to dinner together. Eugenia was not there. Like, we never see her actually eating anything. So what'd she do? She go back to the hotel and hang out with Deb and just starve herself some more in the presence of her mom, who clearly isn't doing anything to solve this problem. I mean, there's so many great restaurants in LA, even if you don't want to be on camera eating, because maybe you're going to have some small portions. Maybe you just want like a bowl of soup or a cup, even. And you don't want, people judging you for how little you're eating. There's so many places in LA that you could have gone. Did you go anywhere? Your proximity. By the way, I'm still so confused by that particular event, because first of all, it was only his TikTok buddies. They were doing their little TikTok battles the entire time. They were in a warehouse. He could have literally picked any warehouse out in Casper, Wyoming, and done the same thing, but instead he went to LA. And or so he says, right? So he's in LA. And Eugenia has to fly out to LA, which means Deb does too, and they're all, out there. And then the entire posse that is seen in that warehouse video, which, by the way, I'm not a big fan of these warehouse. It's not like I haven't been to them, Jeffrey. I've been to warehouse parties. I'm not a big fan of that. It seems pretty low rent to me. Like, you could have gotten a hotel conference room. It's not like you're poor, asshole. You could have even rented out a house. Because there's a lot of houses that are used as rentals for filming. And you literally could have set that up, but instead you put yourself in a fucking bland warehouse for your Tuesday night party, and then side-eyed and rolled your eyes at Eugenia several times that night, which is very sad for those of us who are actually watching this and concerned about her health and safety, because we don't feel like she's really safe around you. We don't feel like you really have her best interests in mind, right? And the reason I know that it wasn't all that important for them to fly out to LA for this warehouse party that only they were at, it had no windows, so it's not like people could look in. They didn't have a crowd or anything like that. And then he flies almost, I think, all of them to Casper, Wyoming later in the week for his launch party at his store in Casper, Wyoming. So if you could afford to get all these people, put them on your private jet, fly them out to Casper, Wyoming for this other event where you didn't even, you completely disappointed your fans because they had to stand in the cold for hours because you and your dumbass friends were doing TikTok battles and live streaming rather than actually meeting and greeting your fans, right? And then you left early. I don't even, you know what? Once in a decade, I might go to the Mac store. But I really do not give a shit about this bullshit makeup. Like, as far as I'm concerned, as long as I have a little eyeliner on and some lipstick, I'm gonna be just fine. Because you know what? Putting all that other crap on my skin is probably gonna clog it up and make me break out.
Some sort of protection because someone had posted a clip of Eugenia Cooney on YouTube and it got literally flagged for self-harm. The clip of Eugenia Cooney got flagged for self-harm. And this clip includes the same exact thing that's in Eugenia's videos, if not like tamer content. So then why is her content allowed to survive on YouTube? It makes no sense. Like, again, we are watching someone die here. There's no other way to say it. And YouTube, you will be complicit. Yes, of course, you will not be completely at fault, but you will be complicit. Anyways, I'd seen a lot of comments on the
as will be Jeffree Star, Deb, and all of those other dumbass people like Rich Lux, and the one who looks like Michael Jackson. Everybody who plays along and says, "Oh no, there's nothing wrong with you, Eugenia. You're fine." Just ignore the haters. Look, I'm sure that she gets like some pretty hateful comments that are like over the top and not appropriate. But I think that probably the majority of the comments she gets are, "I'm concerned for your health. I'm concerned for your safety. I'm concerned that you look like a skeleton at this point." And I'm concerned that you're not getting the best of advice. And that you're hanging around people who are enabling you in such a way that they're then going to mourn at your funeral like they actually cared and they didn't. God damn, if you were my daughter, I would be so freaked out for you right now. I would be trying so hard to get you into rehab.
last video that I'd made talking about Eugenia's mom and putting a lot of blame on her, and I'm not saying that she isn't to blame. I'm just saying it's kind of hard for me to cover, and I didn't really want to even cover it last time, and not that even much this time, because most of the stuff around her mom is purely speculation. The most concrete evidence that we have of
No. She's often filming her. She's often traveling with her and monitoring her. So no, she's not off the hook.
her mom having any sort of impact on her is just her helping film and be in videos and stuff like that, which granted is really bad. But I had seen this post that was speculating like what that could actually mean, and I'm not saying these people are wrong or that they're right or anything. I just did think it was really interesting because it talks about how they're both coping with their different problems by validating each other. So if her mom has a problem eating, maybe because she is a bit overweight, she's probably validating Eugenia in her under-eating, which is a very, very dangerous and toxic scenario. Toxic positivity is what this person had called it. But again, I don't...
Deb's obesity problem, which technically I think she would be categorized as morbidly obese, but it's not like Amberlynn Reed. It's not like foodie beauty. She is probably right there in the range with kind of the boomer generation of adults that, they start picking up weight in their 40s and they can't get rid of it because they were not part of a generation that did a lot of sports or exercise or learned how to like have a gym routine or whatnot. So, yeah, she's overweight. She is. But I don't think that she's dangerously overweight. Like, whatever sort of problems she has can probably be controlled with medicine. Like, if she's got like high blood pressure or high cholesterol or whatever it might be as a result of her weight issues. But the fact that she has that body fat gives her a longer lifespan than her daughter. Period.
I don't really want to talk about this that much. I just thought that it was worth mentioning because that could be one of the reasons as to why there's no one really doing anything for Eugenia. On top of that, there's not really anything anyone can do for Eugenia, and like that's being completely serious. Because if YouTube and TikTok and Twitter don't do anything about her posting on their platforms, she's just gonna keep getting the attention that she feeds on. If her mom and dad are not doing anything either, I mean, she is an adult, but if they're not even speaking against it, she's not gonna do anything to change herself. I mean, why would you? You're getting all the attention that you love. She obviously doesn't care about the health side effects at this point. Like, they are more than apparent from just the examples that I've shown you. And there's way more examples of these that I can't even show on YouTube. And since this is all happening, we're seeing the extreme severity of there just being absolutely no accountability. Even a person that was making videos on Eugenia Cooney, and this is low-key one of the reasons why I don't want to look into the subject much more than I already have. This person named Onyx Pink had made a documentary about the dark descent of Eugenia Cooney and said, I now struggle with disordered eating due to the making of that documentary. For months, I watched her content, tuned into her streams, and researched her. I've always checked in on her ever since she started YouTube, but wasn't a huge fan. As time went on, I began to see myself differently, for the worse. I'm not going to go into details as I don't want to trigger anyone, but I suddenly appear not to say that if Eugenia can influence me, a grown adult, she 100% influences kids and teens. In college, I became a health-conscious person worrying about my weight, what I eat, how much exercise I was getting. My eating was already highly regulated, and Eugenia was just that push I needed to put me over the edge. I'm ashamed. So anyways, they continue about how they're going to get help, but you can see with what they're saying, I suddenly appear now to say if Eugenia can influence me, a grown adult, she 100% influences kids and teens. This is one of the saddest things I have ever heard in my entire life. We are seeing not only younger people, but also grown adults being affected by this extremely negative.
Well, and on top of it, there was a death recently who this woman apparently followed Eugenia Cooney, and when asked about it, Eugenia said, yeah, that's very sad, but I'm sure it's not related to me. Okay, Eugenia, you have no influence over your fan base. All right.
Behavior. If YouTube and all these other platforms are censoring, restricting, taking down other content that are extreme negative influences in people's lives, why are we letting Eugenia have just this free card? I'm not even going to go into the other examples, but you guys know the other examples. People that have just been completely taken off of YouTube, or their content has been taken down or demonetized or whatever. Why does she get a free pass? Like, oh, bro, what? I literally was just looking on her account, and look where her account leads now. I don't know what the hell is going on with this. Her account actually was taken down for a little bit on TikTok, but it's definitely back.
That means that she's also, like, they're leaving the content up, but the account is restricted, right? So she probably does not have access to the account right now, but YouTube is so fucking greedy that they want to still get the clicks and the ad revenue and stuff like that. But having user M2HCZP3XM6 as a username, that is apparently, I don't know if this might be TikTok, I'm not sure, but basically it means that her account was taken down. All of the content is still up because they want to earn the ad revenue in her absence. It's just for show. It's bullshit. It's bullshit.
back up. I don't know why her account has these random ass letters all over it, but it's definitely back up. And the thing that is so aggravating about this alone is that someone got banned off of TikTok for showing her acne, and it was deemed gruesome content. Are you fucking kidding me? She was banned for having acne. Meanwhile, we literally have someone that is dying in front of our eyes, and it's like, oh, well, give her 106 million views. Are you kidding me? And it's not like she's not growing either. Just in the past few weeks, she has gained 500,000 followers alone, which means that her content has literally been probably seen by tens of millions of people. Tens of millions. Like, this goes way past what YouTube is serving up to her in terms of new viewers. She is reaching so many people and potentially putting all of them in harm's way, acting like this lifestyle is okay. Because listen, if that comment that I showed you earlier about her taking no accountability when that person had called her out, look at how she responds in this video.
They feel you don't care to recover, so it's sad. Well, I'm being honest because, I'm not really trying to, recover because I really feel like I'm fine.
That's not her real voice either. One of the other videos I watched pulled up older videos of how she actually has a deeper voice than this. So she's kind of going into this whole fantasy world where she's raising up her voice to be like a cartoon voice. She wants to look like a cartoon. She wants Jack Skellington to be her husband. It's like she has... I'm not a doctor. I'm not a therapist. But it really appears to me that she has some sort of mental condition going on here, where she's diving into a completely different world that is not real.
As I've said a lot of times, comparing me with a girl that very unfortunately passed away. I think that is really, really sad, and there's no reason that I need to be brought into that. It's going to be you soon if you don't stop this, guys. People have been saying this kind of stuff for me for years. I think really I know how I'm doing, and I really do feel like I'm doing fine.
Oh, I hate to say it, I'm not saying she's a liar, but let's be real here. Do you really think that she feels fine? Do any of us actually believe her? Again, I'm not trying to be mean-spirited at all towards Eugenia, but there is absolutely no way that she's feeling none of these side effects from being anorexic. There is no way. Listen, I know there might be a few people in here actually struggling with ED and have similar problems to what Eugenia has, just as I have also struggled with ED, and you do feel it. You get lightheaded, and you don't even have to be close to where Eugenia's at. Not even close. So I truly do think that she's lying. And this is kind of why I'm just growing to really, really dislike Eugenia. And again, I'm not trying to say this in a mean or harassing way, but this is getting to be predatory. I don't really know what metaphor to compare this to, but if what I was doing was directly putting my viewers in harm's way, I would never do that type of content. I just never would. I would put disclaimers on all my stuff if I even decided to get into that niche or whatever. Morally, you would feel so bad if the work that you are doing is going to affect people in that way, right? But in Eugenia's case, it seems like she doesn't care at all. She plays all this stuff off like it's no big deal, she's not in pain at all, she's not dealing with any sort of side effects, yada yada. It's disgusting. And again, I think one of the worst parts is that it's not like we can really even do anything about this. It is up to the platforms at this point to make a stand against it. Her parents are not doing anything. She is not doing anything. The law enforcement themselves are not doing anything because they cannot do anything. Sergeant Reeves says he's known Eugenia for more than a decade and they have a good relationship. They even have a special code. She puts a certain object in her video so he knows everything is all right. If that object isn't there, however, he'll know to get her help. The Sarge says Eugenia has always...
Yeah, that's impossible. That's fucking impossible. And I left a message on his desk, by the way. I called up and left him a voicemail message and told him he needed to issue a retraction because there is no way he is watching 4 hours of Eugenia Cooney every day to look for this fucking hidden message. He's a sergeant in the Special Victims Unit. He is responsible for making sure that rape victims and victims of abuse are getting what they need. And this dude is trying to say, oh yes, I'm watching her 4 hours a day. That's how I roll. I don't believe it. And if it is true, then he's a crazy ass stalker. If he believed that she was in danger, he should have done something about it. But the fact that he hasn't, but says that he's like acting like a voyeur, I'm sorry, I don't believe it.
She's been skinny, adding they can't really make her eat more if she's at the size that she's comfortable with. He says she's of sound mind and always has a bubbly personality when he chats with her. And listen, I'm glad that the law enforcement can't just like take us out of our homes, rip us away from our families like against our wills. But at the same time, I'm just trying to express the fact that like nothing is going to happen besides.
Yes, they actually can. Like if you end up being suicidal, you're going to create self-harm or you're going to create harm to others, the police can detain you for at least 3 days. Maybe more, but at least 3 for evaluation. So that's some bullshit. If you are acting in such a way that you're going to cause self-harm or you're going to hurt other people, you can be detained under a 5150. It is absolutely not true that they have no remedies here.
It's this ending and her dying. That's what I'm trying to get across. Since none of her family's helping, the police force aren't helping, being in front of millions of people on Shane Dawson's series was obviously not helping. She does not want to help herself. Nothing is going to change until she ends up dying. That's just it. Literally the only change she actually has made in her life recently is to start living with Jeffree Star a bit. I don't think she actually like moved in, but they've just been hanging out in his LA mansion. And I'm not even going to get into Jeffree Star, but if you just know the slightest bit about this person, you will know this is the last person that Eugenia should be around. This person is a known scumbag. I mean, I have one screenshot here that I think perfectly sums up the type of person that they are. All these Instagram girls are all talk. I'll actually beat you to the fucking ground and mean it. This isn't an ironic post. Like, this is the person that Eugenia is choosing to spend time with. This is one of the first people that she's actually reached out to and started hanging out with. And it's one of the worst influences on the entire platform of YouTube. Granted, this tweet is from 2016, but I'm gonna be honest with you, I could find like 20 more tweets.
Yeah, he was saying violent stuff when he took Eugenia to his store in Casper, and threatened to fight anybody who was saying anything negative about Eugenia. Just coming to the store right now. And he is definitely not an adult. He's the kind of, mean girl bully that you'd find on a high school playground who's always trying to like pick fights with people. Right, Jeffree? Your wig looked terrible. The Tuesday night wig with the brown splotches on the back of it. Oh my God, that was awful. I'm all for the cross-dressing bullshit if you can pull it off, but oh my God, you did not pull it off.
From 2023, and it would be the same thing. I mean, there's literally footage. I don't even know if I can show this. There's footage of Jeffree doing snow, I should say, on his TikTok. And listen, regardless of what you want to think about substances, that is just completely up to you. Doing this live in front of an impressionable audience is the probably definition of a lack of responsibility. Jeffree Star is 37 years old making these sorts of decisions. It's disgusting. And you're telling me that this is one of the only people that Eugenia is actually hanging out with? Like, what? How do you guys think it's going to end? And listen, with all that being said, YouTube, you have to do something about this. Seriously, I'm not just like trying to scream at the heavens and hope that something changes. I really hope that this potentially reaches YouTube or just someone that can help. Because as I've said before many times, we were watching someone die right in front of our eyes. And at the end of the day, even if you want to look at this from strictly a business point of view, YouTube will take a hit from this. But the most important thing is that Eugenia will fucking die. Do something about it. To say that you are not liable or at all responsible for her dying is just wrong, and we will all know it. When I say this, I think that I speak for myself and a lot of you here. We love the platform of YouTube. It is by far one of the best platforms. It's incomparable to TikTok, Twitter, whatever. YouTube is an amazing platform. Please demonetize the videos or just something. You have to do something here.
Yeah, YouTube, you have a responsibility here. And quite frankly, for as much praise as he just gave you about the platform, your search function sucks ass. Your feeds suck ass. I mean, you're popping up shit from fucking like 8 years ago in my feeds when I'm just trying to look for like what's recent. Even the YouTube studio is difficult to navigate, and you know, we are too far into internet technology for you to be this lackadaisical with the way that you run your platform. And maybe you shouldn't have laid off like 1,000 people last year. Maybe, you know, that would have been a good idea. That's so crap that you're just like, well, we're just gonna go cheap on it now. Okay.
Listen, anyways, I don't really want to ask people to share this video because that seems really odd to do, but it would help maybe if people shared it so that we could kind of get more of the word out that this needs to be stopped. But if you don't feel comfortable sharing it, obviously definitely do not do that. Thank you guys for watching.
I'll definitely share it. I'm gonna share it with my commentary. Let's go.